Hello everyone, my name is Kalindi Khansade and today I have with me the author of the book Mahabharata Unraveled by Amigantra. Amigantra, Ami ma'am. To start, can you tell me something about yourself?
Okay, so I grew up in Mumbai. I am a regular engineer MBA, and I have been a student of yoga and Sanskrit for a long time. Based on that, uh, because of my interest in Sanskrit, Shastras, Mahabharata, eventually led me to the writing of the book. This one,
You
Mahabharata
mentioned you are interested in Sanskrit and Mahabharata and Indian culture. What made you interested in it?
If you go out, you get this Starbucks में, you get this thing, turmeric latte.
Yeah.
बेसिकली क्या है, हल्दी दूध है जो हम लोग
Yeah.
बचपन से पीते हैं, है ना. Then they'll talk about this new kind of breathing which helps you relax and de-stress, and they talk about pranayama. They talk about a peaceful sleep, rhythmic sleep. What they're talking about is yoga nidra. They do these amazing physical activities that thankfully they don't call it anything else, they call it yoga. Yeah, although they
Yeah.
restrict it only to asana. Then they talk about psychology, finding the why, peaceful and all of that, and they put all this under mind sciences. Essentially, again, what they are talking about are meditation, they are dhyan, dharana, all of that. So I realized there are a lot of things that we are told, and then when we do our training, especially in corporate or otherwise, we have all these therapies going on to help people relax. I realized that a lot of it is actually coming from our texts, which is getting packaged outside. And a lot of these authors, a lot of these even scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, who end up talking about these concepts have actually stayed in India with some guru and they've studied all of this. Then they go back and write about the concept. So, however, we learn what is packaged and sent back to us, but we never know what is in our own text. We tend to look down upon that. And I have to say, I was not very different. It's not as if मुझे सब मालूम था पहले से. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं था. There was an incident in life where when I grew up, I had started working after MBA already, and I broke my back. कमर टूट गई. कुछ तो मैं कहीं से तो कुछ कर रही थी और कमर टूट गई. So ये था कि I used to gym regularly all the time and all of that. I was living in Gurgaon at that time. But तभी क्या हुआ? I could not do anything. I could not get up and exercise. I could move, but gymming was out of question. Yeah, that was not going to happen. And I was also becoming very irritable at that time. सब कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगता था. पूरा time complain. ऐसा कुछ बहुत अजीब सा पूरा face था. So my mother, who has been into yoga for a long time and she's seen lots of benefits of it, she told me, "Wapas shuru karna. You know some of it. Start with little bit Surya Namaskar. Start with pranayam." And I'm like, "Nana, mama, it's not the same. Pasina nahi aata hai. You have to go to the gym. There's no fun in yoga. I was also much younger at that time." She said, "Try it. Try karne mein kya jata hai?" And because I couldn't do anything else, so zabardasti. Yeah, it was not as if I was doing it khushi khushi. Zabardasti because there was nothing else to do. I said, "Chalo, let's start with Surya Namaskar." So I did little Surya Namaskar. My back started feeling better. So Ma said, add some pranayam. So I added pranayam. And it worked like magic. And not only in terms of my back or my health, but the change was very apparent in even the way I spoke to people. My irritability had come down. Kich, 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 that was happening. That had gone away. I was much happier than what I was when I started yoga. Although it started with a back problem. It was not as if a self-initiative or anything. And I realized the only change in life is this 6 months, regular 6 months practice of yoga pranayama. So I'm like, okay, what is this? I need to understand better. So that's how I started reading some of our texts on yoga, which was Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And I realized that yoga is so much more than the physical part of it, asana. The impact I was seeing on myself was actually working from the brain. It's all connected. Our brain and body are all connected. So then I tried to find out more, tried to find it out from a science perspective, because at the end of the day, we are all educated, scientific thinking people, right? That's what I thought. So when the science part came in, I was even more amazed कि हमारे ऋषियों को कितना मालूम था. They knew it all. Just that we are dumb enough to not understand what they're saying. So, but at that time, I also realized that if I really want to get the gist of it, I need to know Sanskrit. उसके बिना नहीं होगा. I used to read some English text and I realized that a lot of things which are so clear to us otherwise in Indian languages get missed out when we read only English translation. So I was reading some text on Nyaya Shastra, and there were different kinds of arguments, debates, how to do them, how to present your side, all that was given. And then during that, there was a word mentioned that in a certain kind of arguments, you have to prove your point by giving some jati connection. Okay. Now it was very clear that if I read it in Hindi, which I did later on, it was very clear that they meant that if I'm talking about some tree, I can give the reference of other trees. Yeah. Or if I'm talking about a fruit, I can give the reference of other fruit which belong to the same family, that kind. But the translation of it in English was that only the person of the same jati could argue. And I'm like, this is, we are talking about arguments, yeah, jati or caste or ye sab aaya kahan se? So that person, because he had limited understanding of Sanskrit or any Indian philosophy or anything like that, he just translated jati as caste. And now caste to sirf manushyo ka hota hai, only humans, and Indians have caste. So he made it like people of the same caste can only argue. It made no sense. But now when people read it, they think, acha, maybe they are breaking caste. Yeah. So then I tried and I found out the Hindi translation of it somehow, because this was just not making and at that time I didn't know Sanskrit. So I was only reading English. And it made no sense to me. I'm like, this is just not making sense. So let's figure out. जब मैंने हिंदी पढ़ा, तो I saw, अरे अच्छा, this is so clear कि वो वैसे जाति की बात हो रही है. It's not caste. So this is a clear case of misunderstanding and also misrepresentation from the person who had done it in English. So after that, I decided I need to start learning a little bit of Sanskrit, and had done it in school. School mein to hum 8 to 10 thoda kiya tha. So it wasn't as if, I didn't know at all. So that helped. And not to say that I've become an expert right now, but at least I can figure out the sense of what is being told. Or if the translation is wrong, I can at least figure out whether it makes sense or doesn't make sense when I'm reading Indian Shastras. So that was the reason for learning Sanskrit.
That was an interesting story. So it initially started as a very personal experience and as a compulsion, and it eventually turned into an interest. So your book Mahabharata Unraveled is about Mahabharata. What inspired to write itself, and why only Mahabharata? There are numerous other ancient Indian texts. So why Mahabharata?
Okay, so again, it was not something I planned. I used to read Mahabharata because it used to interest me a lot. Yeah. See, Mahabharata mein kaisa hota hai, whenever anybody talks of Mahabharata, we all have our favorite characters. You are so much younger than I am. Still, Mahabharata interests you. Right? And it's not as if you read Mahabharata Unraveled for the first time. You already knew the story before you read Mahabharata. So, at some level, Indians connect with Mahabharata very strongly. Because we feel we can relate to the characters there. जैसे उनकी लाइफ में problems आए, हमारी लाइफ में भी वैसे problems आते हैं. And we relate ourselves to individual characters given in Mahabharata. So that's exactly how it was. We used to discuss Mahabharata. Largely, our understanding of Mahabharata came from B.R. Chopra, the series when we were younger, the TV series. And I have nothing against it. I think it's a beautiful series. Thanks to B.R. Chopra Mahabharata, a lot of us actually got to know of Mahabharata. He started that trend. But anyways, but after that, lot has been written on Mahabharata. And people will write fictional stories based on their individual perspective. तो कोई कहेगा कि अरे मैं कर्ण के दृष्टि से लिखूंगा, कोई कहेगा मैं द्रौपदी की दृष्टि से लिखूंगी, ठीक है. Now when they start writing इसकी दृष्टि से उसके दृष्टि से, clearly in their mind this person is a hero, and they have to justify or create instances or distort whatever Mahabharata or present it in such a way to make this person a hero or this person a heroine, whatever it is. Yeah. So they end up either changing facts, making it different from what is given in Mahabharata, or they add their own imaginations. And to their credit, they don't call it itihas, they call it fictions, katha, stories, whatever. Yeah. So, but because of that, what was happening is there was a lot of confusion. Lot of confusion. We all think that अरे बेचारा कर्ण, उसके साथ तो कितना ज्यादा अन्याय हुआ, है ना? Such a good guy, so strong, so brave, but only because he was born in a wrong family, we are made to feel that उसके साथ अन्याय होता रहा. And what do? We take that story and we see today's current circumstances and we say, हाँ देखो, इसके लिए we are all like this. We have always been like this, very casteist. We take an example of Draupadi, and then a lot of people have written that Draupadi was in love with Karna.
Yeah.
And we take that and say that, "Arey, see, bichari ladki, she did not get her love." Aaj bhi people are so misogynist, they are so patriarchal that they don't allow women to make their choice. Because why? Because Draupadi loved Karna, something of that sort, yeah. Or in B.R. Chopra Mahabharat, they have shown that Draupadi was always this angry woman. And it was
Yeah.
because of her that the war happened, because they show that Andhe, Draupadi कहती है कि अंधे का पुत्र अंधा
Yeah.
to Duryodhan.
Duryodhan.
And then because of this thing, and she's laughing, and she's a queen, she's not an ordinary woman, right? So we are made to believe कि उनके साथ जो हुआ वो सही हुआ. Her insult was fine because she was also insulting others and she created the war. Whereas this was not the case, yeah. Then on one end, we are told that Draupadi was a very great person, very great queen. On the other hand, we also see that Karna was actually the one to make, who also insulted Draupadi to such a,
Yeah.
like this in during the Vastraharan episode. So we feel like, what is the truth? Or rather, I used to feel like, where is the truth in this? Are all the characters so confused? Or are they trying to tell us that we all have so much shade of gray? What is it? Because then I'm not learning anything out of Mahabharata. All I'm seeing is that everybody does everything and it's all fine. Yeah. So I was like, no, this is because even then we talk about dharma, adharma, all of that. The way the characters are portrayed or the confusion that has been created because so many retellings, so many fictional stories, that it's almost like Mahabharata is not giving any message. It is just a story of a fight of brothers, of revenge and this and that and all that. So just to understand better कि actually क्या है, I started reading the Mahabharata, not with the idea of writing a book or anything, for my own curiosity. Yeah, कि क्या है महाभारत में? Why is it called one of the greatest granthas? Yeah, Mahabharata is also called the Pancham Veda. Pancham Veda, we have Ved Shrutis, yeah, and we are said that Ved make the core of the Indic civilization. So if it was only a fight of two sets of brothers fighting only for revenge, why will they call it Ved? Yeah. So I said, kuch to gadbad hai. And then I tried to find out that why is it that only Mahabharata and Ramayana are called Itihas and nobody else? No other text is called Itihas. Only these two texts are called Itihas. So I said, acha, this is interesting. Why so? So then I found out the definition of Itihas. Our simple understanding is it's history. Yeah. But this history, the way it is written in Indian Shastras, it is meant to give us some upadesha. So what it says is, Dharma Artha Kama Mokshana Upadesham Samanvitam Purva Vrittam Kathayuktam Itihasam Prachakshite. So basically it says something that happened in the past. So it is not a make-believe story. Purva Vrittam, it has happened. Yeah. Kathayuktam, but narrated in a katha format so that people can understand it better. It becomes interesting. It used to be oral transmission. Pehle.
Yeah.
And it is meant to give a lesson for living lives in a way aligned with dharma. So if we had to get some kind of message, then I had to know what Mahabharata was really saying, keeping aside all the fictions and all of that. So that's how I started. Yeah, that's how I started reading Mahabharata out of the interest. And as I was reading, I'm like, okay, now things make so much sense. Because a lot of things that we think we know about Mahabharata are either not in Mahabharata, are someone's imagination, or they are given in a different way in Mahabharata. Yeah. For example, Karna, or for example, Draupadi, she never says Andhe ka putra andha. There is no such episode. Draupadi's character is of that of a very great lady. She cannot say things like this.
If I remember correctly, it was an addition by B.R. Chopra in his series. And also, like, I remember an incident. I was having a debate with my father the other day about about Karna himself. I was saying that they over glorify Karna at every given chance, and so I was giving proofs and written text that he is not as good as everyone says. But my father was saying no, he's great. He's a good person and all. So I gave that. The same example of things being changed because Draupadi never said Andhe ka putra andha, right? So I was saying even during the Vastraran when she was before the Vastraran when she was dragged by her hair by Dushyasan into the court, after reprimanding the others in the court, she said that forgive me, I have angered on my elders and I have not pranamed them. So such a woman of such respect and dignity would never insult someone like that. I was having the same debate. We wait when my
Fantastic.
father
And
will be.
you're a very smart girl, Kalindi. You made the connection so well. A woman
Thank
who is,
you.
as you said, who is so graceful, even in that situation, how can she say something trivial like this? Beautifully caught. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
What I liked, I started writing posts about it during last year. जब वो lockdown था, वो लोग वापस
Yeah.
महाभारत रामायण play कर रहे थे. So somebody saw it and they said, why don't you write about it instead? You know, there's so much retelling, but nobody knows Mahabharat में क्या है. Yeah, and make the right connections. So that's how the book got written.
You have not mentioned personal opinions. I would like to know them. Who is your favorite character and why?
Actually, I have a lot of characters I like in Mahabharata. Yeah? So Arjun is typically favorite for a lot of people, and the reason is just that um, he's such a great warrior. He's a great man, a great kshatriya, but he's very humble. It's not as if he doesn't have confusions in life. He has many confusions in life. It is not as if he doesn't take wrong decision in life. He does. But the best part about Arjun is that be it Krishna or be it Yudhishthir, he knows that if he's confused, he can seek advice. He doesn't have the ahankar to say, "Arey, mere ko kyun bol rahe ho? Mujhe sab malum." My way or highway. Aajkal everybody says that, na, I will do only my way or highway, and everything else doesn't matter. He's not like that. Such a great person, he has never been defeated in any war, any one-on-one face-off. Not from by Karna, anybody. किसी ने उनको हराया नहीं है till the very end, but that is after Mahabharata Yudh when they are all very old and his son defeats him.
Yeah.
But that apart, that kind of a warrior, and even in Gita we see that he tells Krishna, ki, "Arey, I am totally confused. I surrender to you. You teach me." It's a big quality in somebody to have that kind of humbleness. Only then you can learn. Only then we can really learn and have an open mind. Yeah. So I like Arjun. I like Kunti's character. She lived through so much in life. Yeah. So much. There was never a time when she was not living in jungle or not facing some or the other hardship. But that woman never claims victimhood of any sort. She still remains strong. She does what she needs to do. The duty, the responsibility aspect is so high in her. Yeah. Not once we see her cry or anything like that. Yeah. Little bit here and there is a different thing. But she does what she needs to do. Now people say, but she gave up her child, Karna, when he was born. Now, you know, she was a girl at that time. She did not know the consequence of her action. She got scared. I think we can give people that leeway. And that's the thing, right? We do end up making mistakes sometimes. Things happen when we can't stand up. It's all okay. How do we get out of it? How do we lead the rest of our life? That is important. The other person, very good person, who I think is worth emulating is Vidur. Yeah. Vidur, at any point in time, irrespective of thinking कि अरे राजा को अच्छा लगेगा कि नहीं अच्छा लगेगा, अरे मुझे दुर्योधन क्या बोलेगा, अरे I am still an employee, what if they throw me out, whatever. He doesn't think anything like that. He says what he must say as the prime minister of Hastinapur, and not for the good of Duryodhana or Dhritarashtra or any individual person, but that which is good for the kingdom and for the Samaj. At every point in time, come what may. There are so many instances when Dhritarashtra actually just tells him that, you know, you are not even loyal to me. You don't even think about my welfare ever. You have an agenda. You are trying to protect Pandavas so many times. But he says, no, you think what you want to think. I will stick to the truth and tell you what you must do because I'm the prime minister and that is my duty. The decision is yours. But as the prime minister, I cannot misguide you at any point in time. That would be being disloyal to my own dharma. And he does what he needs to do till the very end. Plus, after all this also, after, you know, Dhritarashtra tells him to get lost and all that. But again, when Dhritarashtra calls him, he comes back. He doesn't bring his ego. Because, again, what matters is the Samaj. What matters is Hastinapur. And to be able to live like that, doing something because it's your duty, because you must do that, because you have the influence to do that. Continuing to do that requires immense patience, immense objectivity of mind. And that is actually one of the lessons we get out of our Shastras. Yeah? That how do you develop that sense of duty, of responsibility? How do you develop an objective mind and control over your senses that makes you do not because you like it or you don't like it, but because it must be done. The other such character is Yudhishthir. Yeah.
Oh.
Lot of people say ki, he was such a weak king. He did not want to fight. He gambled away his wife. Yeah, the gambling part is he did gamble away, but not just his wife. He gambled away his brothers, himself, and then his wife. Yeah. Now, should he have done that? Of course, nobody can say he should have done that. Yeah. But
Yeah.
what that incident tells us that however stable-minded a person is, if you fall into such a situation, it is possible, something like gambling, it is possible to lose your sense of right or wrong. You just don't know where to stop because in his mind, he was thinking that if I do one more, I might get back everything. Yeah. He was in a
Yeah.
very weird situation. He was put in that situation forcefully by deceit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, mistakes happen. How does one get out of it? How does one conduct himself after the mistakes have happened, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't say, I want revenge immediately. Not because he doesn't think, not because he thinks all that happened was right. He wants to get his kingdom back. We see that, yeah. But he also realizes that somewhere the mistake was his. And the other thing he realizes that immediate revenge would lead to their own loss.
Yeah.
Because the Kauravas were very powerful. They did not, Pandavas had become slaves to start with.
Yeah.
They did not have their army, anything.
Yeah.
They had done Rajasuya Yagna just before that. Now in
Yeah.
Rajasuya Yagna, what happens is you have to go around, you have to fight and defeat the kings. So the kings who get defeated are not going to side with them. They would all side with Duryodhan, right?
Yeah.
So they did not have the right kind of allies, not the right kind of weapons to fight. Hence, he says that if we do something, we should do it with the right objective and with the right preparedness. That means we need to have a lot of patience before we go out and do something instead of doing it impulsively.
So before this, we talked about the B.R. Chopra Mahabharata, and after that, countless other retellings of the Mahabharata have come in the mainstream media in form of serials and movies. There are also many other folk tales that deviate from the original story written by Vedas. So, what do you think of those? What are your expectations that they should correct a few things they are doing right, and you continue?
There is something called as literature, imaginative writing, creative writing. I think people can write what they want in that. For being able to say that I'll write from Karna's perspective and create a story around it also requires a skill. Yeah. To say that I'm going to get into Draupadi's head and try to see the events from her side also requires a lot of imagination. So fair enough. I am not against anybody trying to present stories in whatever format. The only thing I'm saying is that yes, write it, let people read it, but don't call it Vyasa's Mahabharata. Yeah. Be very clear that it is your version of Mahabharata or your version of Draupadi trying to see Mahabharata, and that it is fiction. It still makes for a wonderful reading. We should read it. Will also help, grow our imagination of things. Why not? There could be some aspects of it which even might make sense. But while we read that, I think there needs to be a clarity to say, अच्छा महाभारत इतिहास जो हम कहते हैं उसमें क्या है? If I want to take lesson, or if I want to read Mahabharata as itihas, which is going to give me a lesson, then it's better to talk about the actual Mahabharata. So when we say Karna versus Arjun, let's analyze. We cannot analyze it based on the retellings or creative, imaginative stories. That analysis should be based on Vyasa's Mahabharata, because only then we will be able to understand the strengths and weaknesses of different characters. Why do we need to understand it? Again, for our own sake. What is it they did wrong? वो लोग का तो हो गया सब. Yeah, doesn't matter whom you call what. वो तो सब हो गया. अच्छा, now other thing, whatever I say, right? Whatever I'm saying, in that somebody might tell you, Kalindi, पहली बात तो what we know about Arjun or Karna or whatever, or Vyasa's Mahabharata, maybe it was written only because Pandavas were successful and Duryodhana, the Kauravas had died. People who are successful and victorious write history, right? So what we know is actually maybe it is the other way around. Maybe Kauravas were better. ऐसा भी कह सकते हैं. How do we believe? So I would say one thing there. आज history जब लिखा जाता है, तो somebody today looks at the past and writes history. Right? They will do some research and pick out whatever facts they like, whatever facts they don't like, they will let it go, whatever, yeah. But Mahabharata, किसने लिखा है? व्यास जी ने. Who was Ved Vyas? Was he a minister in the court of Pandavas? No. Was he getting money from the Pandavas? Was he dependent on them? No.
No.
He was actually their biological grandfather,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Through Ved Vyas, both Pandu and Dhritarashtra were born.
Yeah.
So Pandavas and Kauravas are actually equally related to Ved Vyas, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did not. He doesn't need to have any bias there. Plus, he's a rishi, so anyways, he's free of the biases. Yeah. But
Yeah.
दोनों ही उनके पौत्र हैं. वो
Yeah.
दोनों साइड के दादाजी है. So he doesn't need to glorify one versus the other. And if you see in Mahabharata, he's written about everything. इन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने क्या किया. We might read and say, अरे ऐसा लिख दिया, इन्होंने ऐसे कैसे किया. But he is writing what he has seen. Why? Because only if he presents things as they are, can the future generations learn from the lives, can look back and use Mahabharata as a case study to
Yeah.
understand what is right and wrong. Yeah. So if people say that history is written by victors, then yes, we can see the tendency of history being written by victors, but itihas is not written by victors. Itihas is written by somebody who is actually equally related, blood se, lahu se, to both sides, very unbiased, उनके दादाजी, and he was there at that time. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो हो गया और बाद में आगे जाके somebody has written. Now, of course, there are parts of Mahabharata which may have been added, discourses and stuff. That's a different thing. इसलिए Bori Critical Edition has done that work. But without getting into that, the Vyas Rachit Mahabharata is not something that victors or successful or people Pandavas had written. It's not like that. That is why we can
Yeah.
trust it as well.
Yeah. So, what are your opinions about this? The stories and the serials and the movies that have changed a little of the story, but the impact they make on the general public or the people who don't have such deep knowledge of the epic itself.
True. So you are right. It does create a negative impact. In fact, a lot of things which people know nowadays is coming from there. Now, on the positive, people did not really talk about Mahabharata at this scale before B.R. Chopra Mahabharata. Yeah. In fact, I don't know if you know, but I have heard in my family's extended family as well, and in a lot of other families where they say, "अरे महाभारत मत पढ़ो, महाभारत घर पे रखोगे तो झगड़ा हो जाएगा," right? तो लोग पढ़ते ही नहीं थे because of such मान्यता. So at least B.R. Chopra Mahabharata helped bring out the story. थोड़ा इधर उधर है, ठीक है. At least that roused the curiosity of people to say, "Arey, let's figure out what there is." So a lot of people actually started reading Mahabharata because of that. Yeah. Now Mahabharata इतना बड़ा है कि to expect कि सब लोग पूरा पढ़े ये तो होने वाला है नहीं. ठीक है. इसीलिए something needed to be done on the end where somebody says, अच्छा पूरा नहीं. People know the overall storyline anyways. So let's write something which is coming directly out of Mahabharata and bringing out the essence of it in a way that it is smaller and easy to read. Yeah. So that is something we tried to do with Mahabharata and Ramayana through the book, to bring that kind of essence. Now people write anything and everything. As I said, as long as they're clear that they have written it from their perspective, from their imagination, likho. But I hope that people in your generation, your friends, you start having this dialogue कि हाँ ठीक है, beautifully written book, परंतु महाभारत में ये ऐसा है. Yeah. As long as we can make that difference, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Can't stop anybody from writing.
Yeah. I can relate with that experience of knowing about the story from TV because I was 80 years old when one of the modern adaptations of Mahabharata was released on Star Plus, and I didn't understand the much of story. I had only heard stories from my grandmother, and I like the visualization of it, all the magic they showed and all the weapons and all. So I didn't understand any deep meaning behind it because I was 8 years old. Then later, once we found that one of the streaming services had that Mahabharata on it. So I still remember that from my past about how I liked it. So me and my family, we rewatched it together, and that sparked my interest in Mahabharata. So then I did the whole research, and now I'm here.
Yes. See, that's how. So they serve that purpose as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I often hear about this thing that the serials are wrong, but they show the stories wrong. But to some extent, they have that ability to generate an interest, or at least know some basic things about Mahabharata. Because some of my friends in school and stuff, they don't even know what was Kunti's relation to Karna, or what was Draupadi's relation to Pandav. So at least that basic knowledge is there somewhere. Yeah. So, if you had one chance to change one thing from the epic, what would it be?
I wouldn't change anything. I think
Nothing.
it's because what we learn out of Mahabharata today is because of the way it is, right? It
Yeah.
happened. What I must focus on is seeing if that I don't repeat the mistakes which they made in my life, yeah, or at least चलो mistakes तो होता है, हम सब व्यक्ति हैं at the end of the day, तो वो भी होता है, but how did they lead their lives in spite of all the struggles? Can I learn that from them? That is the lens I use to read the text. So would I change anything? No, I think they lived their life the way they wanted to. Now it's on me to ensure that I live my life in accordance with the lessons we've learned from our rishis.
Yeah. So, if there would be one lesson or multiple lessons, you would wish that everyone, regardless of what God they believe in, or if they believe in God, one lesson, practical lesson we can apply in daily life for everyone to know.
Correct. So I will talk about three. Okay, three things which I take away. One is that the ethical dilemma, dharma sankat, हम सबको होने वाला है कि भाई ये करे या ये करे. Yeah. Right now I'm a daughter, or rather you're a daughter. When you grow up, you will get married. You will be working in some company. So there will be a time when you will be like, hey, should I take care of my parents or my husband and his family or my kid, or I have an assignment to take care of? Small thing, but it's a dharma sankat. How do you decide? Kaise prioritize? This is always going to be there in everybody's life. Nobody's life is free of it. But how we take a decision at that time will determine our future course of action and relationships in all these small units that we are part of. Yeah. So one is that. Now, where that from which point we should take that decision, then goes to more often, as I was telling you, am I doing something because I should be doing something, or because अरे मुझे ये अच्छा लगता है, ये आसान है, ये tough है, yeah, ऐसे ले रहे हैं, या I should do it because of my responsibility towards this different people. Yeah. Am I doing it objectively, or am I doing it out of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, matsara, which are called shadarupi? So basically, am I doing it out of greed? Am I doing it out of too much attachment ki bahut pasand hai? Am I not doing it because I hate it? Yeah. Am I doing it out of jealousy for somebody, or am I doing it because that is the right thing to do? So that's the second lesson. We need to identify our own ripu. Ripu is enemy. The biggest ripus in are some of our own such emotions of anger, lust, too much wanting this, wanting that, too much jealousy, too much growth. Yeah. Can we control that and make the right decision? Because if we operate from the side of krodha, jealousy, all that, eventually we will fall. What was the biggest problem in Duryodhan or Karna? Too much jealousy. कुछ उनको बुरा नहीं किया था, but उनका jealousy ही था. That eventually it led to dying of 50 lakh people in the Mahabharata Yuddha. Yeah. So the second lesson is we need to temper our 6 enemies: the Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsara, the anger, Krodh, all that, anger, greed, all of that. The third is there is no substitute to hard work. So in Gita there's something called as Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam. If we want to do something well in life, if we want to succeed in life, there is no other way other than doing it well. And to do it well, we need to do hard work and effort. That is what we see throughout. If you look at Arjun, if you look at Bhishma, if you look at Vidur, they all have put in lot of hard work in what they have done to achieve excellence. This is also what Krishna is saying.
So I think that's it for this interview. Please be sure to check out Mahabharata Unraveled by Amigantra. It is a wonderful book, and there are many people in the world, in India, that don't know the actual real story of what went behind Mahabharata, what were the motives, what were the characters, what were their intentions. So this book, like we discussed earlier, Mahabharata, the original text is very big. So if you want a good summarized version of it, please be sure to check this out. Thank you.
Thank you.